Top of the midday to you beautiful people. Welcome one, welcome all. I am Babaka, and so are you. Before we begin, I would like to let you know that this name is just a name. Just like your names are just names. They mean nothing else than a state of energy in flux that is being held captive by a thought process, not allowing itself to reinvent the basis from which it stems. Is that confusing to you? Well, that's good. So are your names to me. I have simply chosen this name because this messenger here, the one who is speaking now, or the one through which I am speaking now, has used this name a long time ago to speak the name Father in Aramaic. This is the only reason why this name is being used. There is no other reason, so please don't try to identify yourself or myself with this name, Babaka. Don't look for a meaning on the World Wide Web. Don't try to interpret it too much. This is unnecessary. All that is necessary is that you learn to understand you. That you learn why you are making this rain fall right now. Why you have placed yourself in the position of being in this room right now. Why you are listening to these words. Words that are coming from your very hearts. The only place where words can ever stem from. We are here today, you, all of you, and I, to talk in private, in the privacy of this now space that you have created. But what is now space? Is the rain part of the now, even though it exists outside of this room? Are people around you in your lives part of the now, even though they are not here in this room? Are the people you have let go of, or the people you are still to meet, part of the now, even though they are not in this room? Let us begin, before we define the now, to define room. What is a room? Is a room really a material space where you have built walls to protect yourselves and to keep yourselves removed from others? Or is a room just a type of energy that you are creating yourselves in? Can be many things. Even the cracking of the chair is part of the room, is part of the now. All of your thoughts, all of your ideas, the smiles on your faces, the thoughts that will be popping up in a couple of seconds. All of these things are part of the now. So when we look at the concept of a room, and when we look at the concept of the now, I would like to tell you something about this. You have defined the now as a point in space, and yes, you have already defined it as a point in time as well. Yet, you think that this point in space and this point in time is continuously shifting, continuously moving forward, as it were. So you say that it is a job, a task, an enterprise to stay in the now. Because you can always go to the past. You can always run towards the future if you are not content with what the now is offering you right now. So you want to go to the future. But why are we comparing now, space and time with a room you can be in. It's very simple. Some of you sitting here right now have been in this room that we are sitting in right now in Ghent, Belgium, before. You have visited this room. You have had experiences in this room. You've had conversations. You've been giving each other hugs last time you were here. And now you have returned here, some of you. And you find the same room, at the same point in space, but not at the same point in time. At least you think this room is in the same point in space. And why? Because you are thinking based on gravity consciousness. What is this gravity consciousness, enlightened ones, seekers? Gravity consciousness exists when you lock yourself into planetary consciousness. For you see, gravity is constantly pulling you towards the center of this planet, this earth. It is always trying to bring you down. Bringing you down can be either good or bad. In the first instance, it binds you to a certain set of parameters that you need as a body, as a physical body, to survive. Were gravity non-present on this planet, you would not be able to support yourselves here. Were gravity much higher than it is right now, you would not be able to support yourselves here, for you would be feeling the pressure that would crush you towards the soil. If you were to experience gravity lighter than it is right now, you would be flying off into the atmosphere and you would die. So, gravity consciousness, something that brings you down, can both be good and bad, depending on the way you look at it. If you look at it in a physical manifestation of you, then this is something good. Gravity consciousness is good. But if you look at yourselves as an energy form, then gravity consciousness is limited indeed. For gravity is one of the three forces that we will talk about today, you and I, that we will explore. Gravity, geometry, and magnetism. Three concepts, and I'm using the word concept very consciously. Three concepts that you have been reading about, that you have been investigating, that you have been trying to materialize, that you have been trying to experience. But can you really experience a concept? Can you experience the concept love, for instance? What is this concept? What is love? It is a many-splendor thing, yes. But is it something that exists as a singular consciousness inside of everyone's heads? Or is it something, well, that is private to each and every one of you? I will let you answer that yourselves. But in my opinion, it is something that is unique, something that cannot be replicated, and also something that cannot be put onto someone else. All of you alive on the planet today have a concept of love in yourselves, and you are trying to put this concept outside of you. You are trying to feel, to experience what is inside of you on the outside. And so you define yourselves you define this concept, which is, in my opinion, unique to each and every one, and you try to find another person to experience this unique concept with, forgetting that uniqueness in itself is beauty, that uniqueness in itself is perfection. You do not need to experience with another what you experience within yourselves. The only thing you can experience when you join with someone else is the result of this joining, is the result of two unique thoughts, two unique energies, two unique concepts coming together and blending as one. Yet, most of the time when this fact happens, when this blending occurs, you tend to forget. We all do. We tend to forget what the original unique thought was that made you go out and try to look for meaning, look for blending. For this is what you are doing when you are trying to look for love. You are trying to look for meaning. And so many people today are looking for meaning outside of themselves. The only problem is they don't even look for meaning in other people anymore. They look for meaning in objects, in entertainment, drugs, cigarettes, such as the man through which I am speaking now. They look for meaning in anything except for themselves. So, most people on this earth do not think of themselves as meaningful. They do not think of themselves as having a specific worth which is unique. And they go looking for it outside. Hence the economy. Hence the entire situation you have going on in your world having to do with money, for instance. The other day, this man through which you are all speaking now, we are all speaking now, I am speaking now, this man was driving back from a certain trip he had made in England. One of the songs that was playing was a song by Pink. I forget the title, but the basis of the song was, and it was of course ironic in nature, I don't need friends, I don't need to be nice, because now I have money. And this is the truth for most people. Have you ever noticed how society all around you does not care for a smile? It does not care for good manners. It does not care for a hug or a handshake or someone helping one another without any extra motivation supporting the help. All they do, all they look for is your account, your financial situation. And if your financial situation rises to a certain amount of zeros behind a number, well then you are God. You can get anything done wherever you want it. This is also bringing you down. This is also gravity consciousness. Gravity consciousness can be explained in a lot of different ways, and in the coming sessions, in the coming talks, we will explore this more. But the angle of gravity consciousness that we want to look at today, that I and you would like to look at today, is based upon the physical body. The physical body that is looking for something to gravitate towards. Always. Always. But there is a different way of looking at physical gravity consciousness, enlightened ones. There is a different way. If you understand that you are this planet Earth, then this means that the gravity well of the planet is your gravity well. It be your heart, it be your soul. Earth is you, and you are Earth. So maybe, just maybe, it is not the planet who is attaching itself to you and keeping you down. Maybe it is you who is defining gravity as a force that pulls you down. Maybe it is you that is keeping you down. Now, most people on this planet are in gravity consciousness. Basically all of them. Compared to the numbers, of course. We could say that there is thousands and thousands and maybe even a couple of millions of people who are in a different kind of consciousness. But what is a couple of million compared to 8 billion living on the planet today? Now the first negative gravity consciousness thought you would have is nothing. A few million people compared to 8 billion is nothing. But then you are again thinking gravity consciousness. Then you are again putting your own gravity center outside of you. Then you are again expressing something which is unique on the outside, and you are trying to put it onto others. And everybody makes this mistake, if we can call it a mistake. Everybody does this. For instance, the story that was just told about healing the ocean, about going to the beach in Holland, trying to heal the ocean from gravity consciousness. And everybody can be guilty of gravity consciousness, although there will not be anyone sued anytime soon. The original thought from gravity consciousness, when 3 people try to heal the ocean, would be that it is impossible indeed. It cannot be done. How can a mass of water taking part in 2/3 of the planet itself be healed by a tiny little speck of matter? Well, how can the tiny little speck of matter, which is your body, become diseased by an even tinier little speck called the virus or a bacteria? And how can this same body again be healed? By introducing yet another tiny little speck called medicine, for instance, or energy, if you care for that sort of healing, better. It is the same thing with the ocean. If you move out of gravity consciousness, if you move out of the fact that you are just taking part on this planet, then you can see yourselves as the medicine for this planet. One tiny little speck can do so much. So much. For some time now, so many people have been telling you that you have come to this planet with a purpose. And you believe this. You acknowledge this fact. You listen to these kind of lectures all the time, you read books, you talk about it. Yet when it is time to put it into action, you tend to forget. And that is why, next to the Universal Manifest that has been running now for quite some time, that this be the beginning of a new series called the Action Series. In this series, we will not be putting words into action. This will be you doing that, not us, not me, not anyone who has created this meeting here today. Everybody has their own type of action to put into action. Everyone has their own path and passion and dream to follow. What we will do in the Action Series is get you to a state of consciousness where you can actually walk away straight into a passion council, where you can actually walk away and stop thinking about doing stuff, where you will be implored to actually feel the stuff you want to be doing. This is also a problem on planet Earth. People tend to think too much about the things they are doing. This is also gravity consciousness. For you see, if gravity be a center, a point of origin which is a lot of kilometers removed from your body, which exists on the crust of the earth, if gravity be this energy that pulls you to a certain gravity well point, let this be the center of this circle, then it takes a while for the full effect of the gravity to be felt. And it is this interim period that makes you go into thought, go into process. Now, most people here on earth, most seekers, will say that going into process is a good thing. Of course it is. You can take the time to get to the core of your problem, peeling the problem layer after layer after layer. You get the time to go into your grief, or go into your fear, or go into your pain and explore it. Explore the pain. Explore the fear. Go deeper and deeper and deeper into it. This is going into process. Most people on this planet Earth are in process without even realizing it. Is process a good thing?
Not necessary.
Not necessary indeed. The concept behind process is good. The fact that you want to explore it, that you want to go to the essence, to the core image of your problem. But the fact that you have put a time frame around it on this earth is usually not good. You think that going through a process takes time. Gravity consciousness. It takes time to get to the center of things. It takes time to go from one place to the other. So it must take time to go from one state of mind, and I'm talking mind, to another state of mind. And this is not true. This is the illusion that has been placed upon you, that has been placed before your eyes. That you need to take time to resolve issues. That you need words to resolve issues. That you need making up to resolve issues. That you need to grovel at someone's feet to resolve issues. Or that you want to be the one who is groveled at. That you want to be the one who other people come to so that they can be healed. Gravity consciousness, therefore, is always a state of ego. So then we define two gravity sources within your body. First, be it the heart, which is the core of the earth. And second, be it the mind, the ego, which is what? Is it the core of the earth? It is not. Gaia knows no ego.
Mass consciousness.
Indeed, mass consciousness. Yes. It is that which governments, institutions, media have placed within you as a secondary gravity source. So that you will think. And if you think, then you cannot go to the original gravity source. Do you believe that the earth, at her point of creation, which is continuously going on, that the earth is thinking about the plants it is creating? That the earth is thinking about the mutations in the animals so that new races can develop? more equipped to live on this specific energy of the earth? Do you think that all these things are happening by thought, or are they happening by the heart? They are happening in the heart of Gaia itself, which is continuously creating. So, if you look at Gaia, although she is creating gravity consciousness together with you, if you look at Gaia, she does not respond to gravity consciousness. She just beams all of her creations out. So there is a second way of looking at gravity consciousness, the reversed way. Gravity can both attract and push, just like magnetism. Now, we were talking about the room before, the room that could be compared to the now, the room that exists in space, at the same point of space, but not in time. Now that we have looked at gravity consciousness, where most people here believe that you are stuck on this one specific place, Earth, well then you forget one thing. Earth itself is moving around another gravity well. So this room where you are in right now isn't the same one in space, but it isn't the same one in time as well. It is different. It is in another point in time and space. And so the now, enlightened ones, so the now can be a point which is fixed, yet fluid, moving. When you were talking about the marriage that took place yesterday, and when you were talking about the finger ritual where two people place their fingers towards each other, on top of each other, so that they would always remember this point of now, when they will have a conflict, and they will have a conflict, that is imperative, when they will have a conflict, they will retreat to this point of now, in time, but also in space, will they not? They will go to this place that does not exist in a room anymore. It exists in their room. It exists in their space, in their time. If you look at things from this angle, then time and space become very, very redundant indeed. And it is possible to live on this planet Earth without time and space being present, even though for others who are still in a specific type of consciousness, it will not. This is action. This is freedom. This is Trinity. Now, how do you achieve Trinity? And what is this Trinity all about? Gravity alone cannot serve you, but it is one point of the Trinity. Geometry be another point of the Trinity. And magnetics be a third point of the Trinity. If you want to move from thought to action, you need to be aware of all three different types of consciousness. It is not about getting away from one specific type of consciousness. It is embedding all three within yourselves. So you see, seekers, this is the way out of you and in you. Try to let go of any type of judgment you might feel right now. As we are talking about gravity consciousness, you will feel specific judgments about this. Maybe it is about you who allow yourself to be stuck in gravity consciousness. Maybe it is about me who is speaking in a pretty boring way about gravity consciousness to some. Maybe you have the judgment that what I am saying right now cannot be fully understood because it is in a different language than your own. Or maybe you think that this is not the point why you have been placed here today, why you have allowed yourselves to be here today. All of these things are judgments. In a different point of view, you would think that judgment is something you need to let go of. You don't. You don't. You just need to let go of judging the judgment. And we can go on. You need to let go of the judgment that you are judging the judgment. And go on. And go on. This is endless. But how about you just allow the judgment to be there? How about you stop thinking about the judgment? How about you stop thinking of why you are feeling this judgment? Because thinking about all of these things, and this is just one example out of many we could now present, stopping to think about the judgment, allowing it to be there, is exactly this thing that will keep you out of process. So many times before, we have talked about being the eye of the storm, the non-moving observer, the non-observant observer as well. Do you think that this observer, when he or she looks at him or herself, do you think that this observer judges him or herself? Let's take a very clear example. The life of this man through which this discussion is being held now has changed drastically over the last few months. This body might still be the same. The energy that it expresses has changed greatly. Now, the other day, when a friend of his was going through the books in his living room, he found a picture that expressed a certain aspect of the past life, of the past experience. A picture with this man on it and his ex-partner. It was a picture taken in a moment of bliss, the very first weeks of a blossoming relationship. There was love in the air, there was a smile in the eye. Even though the weather was bad and the jackets were on, there was a sun beaming out of them, out of every one of their cells, and they were happy together. They were standing near the river Skeld, and they were happy. Now, if most people, after a specific type of transformation, were to find this picture again, how would you respond? In different ways. You could be happily mesmerizing the past, or you could be angry at that son of a bitch who dumped you. Your words. Or you could be sad for all the time that you have lost, and 4 years out of my life, oh God, they meant nothing. They meant nothing, and now I'm all alone again. Yeah, right. 3 different types of reaction, yet there are thousands more, very subtle ones, that you can react to seeing a specific type of the past. But the one who is doing the looking is the ultimate observer. Right? Because you are in a different point of time and space, existing in different frequencies and different types of vibration, and you are looking back at the past. literally, visually. So, as you see this picture, energy is being sent from it, a specific type of energy which is embedding the picture at all times, which is a part of the past basically, existing in the future, now, in the now. And this energy is coming towards you. And although there is no smell or no sound, it is a visual. And this visual enters the eyes and gets translated into whatever it is translated into, and it is sent through the visual cortex, into the brain. And there, it's energy, which is still energy, it's trying to connect to thoughts, to synaptic pathways that you have formed, the parameters, which is you. And as it does, because it goes into the brain, it will look for drama. It will look for ego. It will look for painful thoughts first, because these thoughts are the ones that will enable the survival of the ego. And so, as you are seeing this picture, and your brain is racing, trying to find the correct dramatic emotion to express yourself in, you are no longer ultimate. Because the thoughts that are connecting to the picture are part of the past. They are not part of the now, let alone part of the future. Gravity consciousness. You are being pulled down into a specific part of yourself which is not the surface. And this is another thing we should talk about, because so many seekers, they think they have to go deep, right? They think they have to go all the way to the bottom of themselves, all the way. Dig deeper, they say. Dig deeper. Push harder. Go faster.
Wat?
Push harder.
Zeg niet dat je het niet lekker vond.
Well, so they need to go deeper.
Ik vond het heerlijk.
And as they do, they often forget. And I'm sure, my dear, this is not the case with you. I'm trying to get her back here, yeah. They often forget that so much light and love, so much tenderness, so much purity is available at the surface. If you look at the waves of the ocean, for instance, there is so much beauty below the ocean. But is this beauty anything better compared to the beauty of the surface waves itself? The story you were talking about before, about the waves after the healing of the ocean, the waves creating a green fluorescent light, there's beauty there, although the healing took place in the bottoms of the oceans themselves, in the life itself. So life exists anywhere within you, even in the surface and even in the bottom. But the surface will always be the now aspect of your own life force expression. Always. So maybe it is time for a different type of energy work. Maybe it is time for a different approach of things, where you can allow yourself to be in judgment in the bottom of yourself, in the past, while the surface is just expressing who you are today. Who you are today. And then, when the same picture, after you have tried to throw it out of the house several times, keeps popping back into the book, as pictures tend to do that you would like to get rid of, the next time you see the picture, maybe as the energy comes from it, and it tries to travel through your brain, you will allow it to travel through your brain, but you will go to your actual gravity source, your actual gravity well, which is the heart. Now, if you were to say where the surface energy of your body is located, would you say it be the head or it be the heart? Which is new every single day? Which is new? And in my sentence I will already say it, every single heartbeat. It is the heart. It is the heart that is always creating new surface energy inside of you. And the cool thing is that this heart creates the surface energy on the inside, based on what lives within you. Yet, the heart is able to create newness from old points of view, because it does not care about the past, you see. The heart does not remember the previous heartbeat. Never. It has no memory. Not the type of memory that the brain has. It just knows that it needs to beat. And now again it knows that it needs to beat. So, as this picture, again, we will show you the picture on the internet. As this picture travels towards you, and you see that in that past there was love, and there was joy, and there was tenderness, and there was the river Scheldt, and there was the kissing that came after the taking of the picture, which the picture does not remember, but the brain does. Then it can travel to the heart, and the joy of that past moment can be triggered in the now. This is the way to keep people alive at all times. This is also the way of allowing yourself to have the judgment, but to let that judgment go to the surface and create a new thought, a thought of the heart. For you see, if you work with these two parameters here, both the brain and the heart, okay, the brain will try to find the drama moments, and they will still be there, but you will just be able to let go. You will be able to go out of judgment because you allow the judgment to be in the brain, but you are the one doing the choosing of the now. So the room you are in is now defined by your heart space. And this is what the Passion Council, enlightened ones, is all about. Oh God, he actually made a point. After almost 40 minutes of talking. This is what the heart space is all about. So, if you are planning to create these Passion Councils, try just to stay in gravity consciousness. You will be creating the Passion Council on earth, will you not? It will not be in the twinkly spheres you can let yourself float to. It will be on earth, here, now, physical contact. And the action that is required to make your life the way you want it is also on earth. The action will always be on earth, never in the spheres. The spheres are like, clouds. It is beautiful to look at. It has an effect on the earth. The type of rain that is coming out of it, the type of coldness, the type of energy that the sun can transmit through the clouds. It has an effect on earth, but if you live in the clouds, if you were to only look up, you cannot get anything done here. So this Passion Council, which stems from the heart energy, needs physical embodiment. It needs a physical space to make sure that all of these things can be done. as a good friend has said to this man here before, and as this man has said to you as well. We are just now saying it for the others, listening in later. If you want to change the world, if you want to do all of these things that you have been listening to for so many years in some cases, you will be the one to do it. No one else. And this is the only reason why channelings in the past, for this is not a channeling, this is a shared consciousness event that is taking place between all that is, this man speaking here, and you. If you have really listened to all of these channelings in the past, you will now understand why they have been talking to you so directly. Why the words within the channeling and the startup of the channeling was always about you and your magnificence and how beautiful you are. It was a way to make the information coming in personal. It needed to be personal. If it weren't personal, well, you wouldn't have listened with your mind, would you? Because your ego wants to be number one, wants to be the only one, really. It wants to be the one that everything is aimed at. It wants to be in the center of things. So even though these channeling things were aimed at, in some cases, hundreds of thousands of people, you felt directly spoken to. And now it is time to look at it differently. It's not just about you, and yet it is just about you. It is about all of you. And when we say all of you, we mean all the people living on the planet, and as such, all of you. For you are all the people living on the planet. This is why, if you feel the calling of the heart to put yourself into action, to move around within yourself and within the planet and within the energy, and you find it hard to say goodbye to certain people, to family or to friends or whatever, know that you are always carrying them within yourself, and at the same time you will always meet them again and again and again wherever you go. For if you are all of you, then they are all of them too. And so, looking into someone's eyes is not just looking into your eyes, but also looking in the eyes of your loved ones, of your family, of your friends. This is the first step of allowing gravity consciousness to be there and moving towards the second place of the Trinity triangle. It is called geometry consciousness. Now, what is this difference between gravity and geometry? Well, there's not really a difference. It is just the place in which the energy is located, you see. If you are talking about gravity, then of course you are talking about a specific set of dimensions. Now we have defined in the past 12 dimensions, also 12 rays of consciousness, 12 everythings really. The universe is made up of 12s, all of it. Even your cellular structure is made up of 12. Mathematics, geometry, magnetics, gravity, made up of 12, always. So if we define there to be 12 dimensions, then you would say that gravity belongs to the lower dimensions without judging the lower dimensions, which would be dimension number 1, 2, 3, and 4. These 4 dimensions make up gravity because this specific energy that is at the same time gravity, geometry, and magnetics will express itself in the material world only in this type of fashion. So 1, 2, 3, and 4, or be the fact true that number 4 is no longer a physical dimension, it is still attached to the physical. It is the subconsciousness. It is the archetypes, the archetypical process of thought, which stems from materialistic thinking, thinking on a biochemical level, triggered by the brain. In the same way the brain is now triggering this body to get to that cup of coffee. This is all materialistic thinking, because 4D thinking will have an effect on reality. Always. An immediate materialistic effect. 4D thinking always will trigger you into process, will take away from non-time and non-space and will put you in time and space. It wasn't necessary for this body to drink. It wasn't necessary for this mouth to become less dry than it is right now. It is just a thought. It is just a concept that once again is attached to materialistic thinking. For you are the master of materialism. You are the master of all things material. And if you were to like this mouth not to be dry, well, there are several ways you can accomplish that, but the least intrusive way would just be to change what? Gravity, geometry, or magnetics?
Geometry?
Yes, geometry. And why?
To reset the form, the idea.
Mm-hmm. To reset the idea. That's a nice way of putting it. Indeed, because the 4 dimensions that we were talking about now, all of them are made up of ideas, concepts, as we've been saying. Concepts that gravitate towards each other, that are being pulled together to create reality. So if you go beyond this, if you go to geometry, then you will be thinking outside of the box of the materialistic world. You will be thinking 5D, 6D, and 7D. Now, if the first 4 dimensions, if gravity has an effect on matter, which is space, you would think that geometry would have an effect on time, would you not? Well, it doesn't. Geometry is the perfect stillness in the center of beauty. The perfect stillness. Although, if you were to be in a geometric field, and if you want to later on, after we finish with this discussion, we will start exercising this. If you were to find yourselves in a geometric field, you will see mass movement. You will see constant evolution of energy, yet it would be perfectly still. For it would just be, how to put this in the right words, it would just be, as this sentence is experienced right now, it would just be a gap, really. 5D, 6D, and 7D, although the movement is really intense, is just a gap, a non-space, a non-time. It is this gap that creates the thoughts that are coming from the highest power of you, what you have called your higher self, what you have called spirit, what some are still calling God, what we are now calling Babaka, or what you can call you, maybe. You. The gap. You are the gap. You are the gap between matter and total energy. So this geometric space is basically a type of energetic anarchy. For it is in flux. It is not energy, it is not matter. It is the space before the thought is processed. Thoughts, although you think that thoughts are energy, they truly are not. They are biochemical in nature. Every single thought. Words are not energy. Words are physical consequences of movements made by the throat and the lungs and the muscles that are pushing the air up. So, neither thoughts nor words can be expressed as energy any longer. If you do this, you are limiting yourselves again. Thoughts are the consequence of energy. And as such, you could argue, could you not, that your thoughts may not be pure. Your thoughts may not be the essence of who you are. But your thoughts only exist in 4 dimensions. Gravity consciousness. Only 4 dimensions. After that, there is geometry. Now, if you were to look at consciousness, how could you ever look at consciousness? But if you were to look at consciousness, then you would see that the axis of consciousness is made up of a vertical movement. At the bottom there be gravity, as we have explained before. At the top there be magnetism. In the perfect stillness in the center, there be you. So, if, and as we have defined before in the past, if magnetism is indeed love, and if gravity is the other side of the axis from love, then you have a choice. And you have a choice to look at this from a dualistic point of view, or you can look from a trinity point of view, where you have 2 poles expressing every type of energy in matter or in emotion, whatever, and the third pole being both of them in a perfect marriage of unity. So, most people, when they are in gravity consciousness, the way we have defined it before, they walk around the earth in fear, for this is the opposite pole of love, fear, and it exists below, and you think that love exists somewhere up there, pure love, universal love, unconditional love. It all exists up there where you can get to it. And so you walk in fear on the planet. If you take the third part of consciousness on as your own, being geometry, then you will be in the perfect center of things. You will be the Trinity. And you will be able to recreate the downside part of your axis, literally the downside part, the fear, and you can reshape that fear into the same magnetic love as you find upstairs in your consciousness. So, if you do this, then you really discreate duality. For you now have a consciousness ready for you that has 2 poles of the same type of energy. Love, love. Magnetics and gravity expressing itself as magnetics. So now you get to the point, enlightened ones, where you see that magnetics, even though we haven't yet talked about it, is already in your grasp, for it exists in gravity as well. Gravity consciousness can be magnetic consciousness. if you only allow the geometry to be there. So if then, and I'm just giving you this as an option, as a suggestion, this entire conversation, if then the first 4 dimensions are gravity, the next 3 ones, number 5, 6 and 7, could be geometry, and the rest is magnetics, right? 8, 9, 10, 11 and 12, which is more than any of the other parts. There's always more light, then always more love, even within the dimensional framework, than there is fear. Even though, if you only exist in gravity consciousness, you can only feel the fear. There's always more love. And even if you exist in the middle, in geometry, then you would see that you will always be pulled towards magnetics. But what happens now if gravity is turned into magnetics? If you allow yourself the freedom, and you will feel that the gravity pulling you down is actually pulling you up as well. And then you can change your point of view. Then down becomes up. Below becomes above. And you get the principle as below, so above, and as above, so below. But you can only get this principle if you allow geometry in your very essence. Now, if you think about gravity, and gravity is a part of space, then magnetics immediately, while geometry is the gap, would be a part of time. Time is the tension that exists between 2 material objects trying to get closer to each other or further away from each other. This is the only meaning of time you will ever need. And 2 objects, or sometimes the same object, trying to get closer to itself or each other, or trying to get away from itself or each other. So how about you just stop trying to get closer or trying to get away? How about you just accept the position you are in right now? How about you just allow this now to be? Then you are not running towards the future, things to come. Then you are not running back to the past, things that were. And I'm not talking about just letting go of the dramatic aspirations of going towards the future or going back towards the now. I'm also talking about the positive ones, the things you experience as positive. Don't try to think ahead or to think back. Don't try to get closer to each other. If you just allow the place that you are in right now, what do you think love will do? What do you think magnetics will do? It will automatically reunify you with yourself or with the other. Automatically. There is such freedom in allowing things. There is such freedom in inhabiting a space that you have ultimately created for yourself. If you build a house, for instance, you are not trying to get out of it. You would want to live within the house. Of course, most people on this planet Earth today are trying to get out of the house they are living in because they are not content with what they have built. And then they are afraid because now they're stuck. Now they're stuck in this space that they have created, in this time frame that they have created for themselves. And that is because the house they are living in does not carry the energy that they would want to see. So they try to run towards the past or to go back towards the future. Go back towards the future. Geometry. The gap. So if you exist within the gap of geometry, then you will see that it is no longer necessary to move closer to anything. For, and this is the way the Trinity really works, if you create a geometric space to be in, then you will automatically exist in magnetics and in gravity consciousness. Automatically, for this is the only place where the two others connect in unison. Yes. Long explanation. However, we are not even halfway there. Just kidding. If you now want to put this into practice, this will be interesting. For we have been talking about concepts. And if you remember the first things we said about concepts, it is about letting all of these go. Allowing them to be there and allowing them to go at the same time. So, what we will do later on is we will try to let you see how these things actually work when you want to put things into action. Action always requires two identical poles. If it does not exist within two identical poles, you will always be pulled one way or the other. And if you are pulled one way or the other, and most people tend to do this, well, then you are out of your balance, out of your center. And then people try to say to themselves, oh, but I'm just flowing with the now. The now is taking me anywhere. It's just, I'm the river. Oh yes, I'm the river. Are you really? Or are you a feather that is being stormed forward, that is being pushed forward, that is rummaging through itself on the river? If you are the geometry, then you are both the gravity that is holding the water of the river down on earth, and the magnetics that is allowing the water of the river to flow on and on and on, and then you are not a feather. So we will, in a minute, after a short break I guess, we will try to put these things into action. You will have to find your identical poles. And you will have to understand that magnetics is not about space, it is about time. If magnetics is about time, and you can let go of gravity consciousness, then you will be literally on time. You will be a master of time. Basically a master of nothing. For it does not exist. And that is mastery. Understanding that the things around you are not really there. You are just experiencing them. And as you are experiencing them, you can change them. This is basically the reason for experience. So that you can bless you. So that you can bless you. So that you can so that you can look at this energy, such as the picture that we have been talking about before, so that you can look at the energy and you can choose the way in which you experience it, for the energy is never a part of you. It is you, but it is not a part of you. You see? It is you. And this is difficult in a time-space frame of mind. how can something or some person that is in front of you, like that chair or that lady over there, how can this not be a part of you and be you at the same time? If you are looking at the chair or the lady, let's look at the lady. If you are looking at the lady and you are thinking that she, of course, is made up of your energy, so that she is a part of you, then you have separated yourself once again. So you have created duality once again. So you have created gravity consciousness once again. So you have created love and fear once again. So now this is a person to either love or fear. Right? We shall choose to love her. But again, you have to make the choice. And this is what is creating your time and space movement. For you have to make the choice. You have to decide if you gravitate towards something or if you move away from something. If you were to just allow the fact that you are, and that she, in this case, or the chair, is also you, completely, then there would be no need to gravitate or pull away. It would just be okay to be you in 2 instances. Now do this in 8 billion instances, and within you lives unity consciousness. If you do this, and this is the reason why we will go to the exercises later on, if you do this, then you will be an emissary. For you will show others the basic principle that they are God also. This is all the healing you will ever need to understand. This is all the power you will ever need to understand, that everything you do is about finding that spark of life in others. So don't walk up to someone and ask them if you need to heal them. Don't walk up to someone and push your hands on them and do everything that is, silly, really. All you need to do is make the other person, which is you, so make you understand that you are God. If you can make you understand that you are God, then your cells will understand that they are God. And the atoms within the cells will understand this. And the electrons, and the energy behind it, and the tachyons behind it, and the potentials behind it. So every choice that you do not need to make anymore from that point onward will be God, will be unity, will be blessed. And this is the way that all the great teachers, all the great masters have always healed others, by letting them know that they are them. So if now I am thirsty and I want to touch this cup of coffee, why would I want to do that if I can allow myself in the first place to have judgment about my being thirsty? To place this outside of a time and space frame of mind, to take this from gravity consciousness into geometry consciousness, into magnetics consciousness, where I am no longer space, I am just time. And if I want to discontinue my own existence as matter, all I need to do to quench my thirst is to understand that the time it takes for my cup of coffee to move to my lips and to drink is non-existent. And if it is non-existent, then I am the cup. I am the complete cup. And if this cup is filled with liquid, then I am liquid. And if I am liquid, how could I ever be thirsty? This is the way that certain people on this planet have started to feed off the light of the sun. They understand they are the sun. And if the sun is full of light that it is constantly sending out, and if they receive this light, well, you see, this is the basis of a new way of thought, a new surface. So let's not call this the action series. Let's just call this resurfacing. For this is what it is. It is all about resurfacing. Don't go deep. Just resurface. Come back to the original state of you that you are in right now. And allow all of the depth to be there. We will now take a short break. And after that we will return with exercises and things to experience. I thank you for listening, and I thank you for your non-time. We thank you. And so it be.